Good morning, everybody. Hopefully you had a wonderful weekend. Just a reminder, those 5Q tape breakdowns that you get every other week are going to make you better at what you do. And what should we be doing now, between now and the beginning of the year? Sharpening our skills so we can really hit it hard in 2022. So this week's was a 1-minute tape snippet. We're going to hear what happens when we start out on the wrong foot and when we don't listen to the client. So let's learn from other guys' missteps. And we find out that words do matter. Words have direct and indirect impacts on other people and who hear them and read them. And how do we know what words we're using, guys? Let me ask that question. How do we know what words we're using with the client or with the prospecting, more importantly? Yeah, Nick's got it. How do we know that, guys? Yeah, now we're getting it. Yes, you record yourself. Because do you really think, guys, I've been doing this coaching guys for 20 years. I used tapes myself when I was with live clients for 3 years. What we think we say and what we actually say are the same thing or two totally different things. And why we're on Monday now after Sunday football. What are all the football teams doing today? What are all the football teams doing today? These are the best football players in the world who should know how to do everything, should know how to run plays, should know how to tackle, should know how to throw, should know how to catch, should know how to run with the ball. And what are they all doing today? Yep, they're reviewing the tape. Why? Because what you think you did and what you did are two totally different things. And the only way you're going to, first of all, believe that and then improve on it is from that. And we find that words matter from this article in Investment News. 401k savers, words matter. Getting 401k participants to engage in their plans might have a lot to do with language. Some words resonate with savers and others fall flat, according to new research from Invesco. Fund, for example, doesn't mean much, but portfolio is better understood. So should we be using funds or should we be using portfolio? Should be using portfolio. Investment provider found that surveying 1,000 U.S. plan participants, 53% of people preferred the latter, portfolio, while only 35% understood the word fund. 12% pointed to the word strategy as the best way to describe the 401k investments. The company also worked with corporate language consulting firm Maslansky. So we are huge fans of Maslansky. So if you ever want to read a book on how to communicate with clients, get Maslansky's a book on that. When it comes to retirement income, people also have preferences. 88% said income is the best way to describe retirement income. Income, while 61% said payments and 48% said payouts. So which one should we be using? 38% said paychecks. Which one should we be using? Income. Further, the term investment risk did not have a positive connotation. About a quarter of people said it indicated a high level of risk. So if you hear investment risk, you're not saying, hey, it's a measurement that could be either low or high. They're just assuming it's what? So when you say investment risk, well, we're talking about, hey, investment risk could be high, it could be low, but they assume it's what? High. Well, less than two-thirds said it could mean any level of risk. Less than 10% said it meant low risk. Nearly two-thirds linked the term with potential loss. So that's a good thing and a bad thing. I mean, we use it as for that very thing. So they do link it to loss because you know what? If you're in the market, you should understand that you can what? Only make money like they have in the last 12 years, or it can lose money. Yes. While over a third said that it related to potential gain. So way more people view investment risk as loss versus gain. Plan sponsors in the industry must rethink the approach to plan design. And guys, we're not talking about 401ks, guys. We're talking about how we can use it. So this study was conducted for 401ks for Invesco, but we can use it as well. When asked, investment menu construction communication strategy as participants shift their mindset from retirement savings to retirement income. When we asked participants what goal they were looking to achieve, 6 in 10 would rather achieve retirement income versus retirement savings. What most people are interested in is that 50% of millennials, 50% of Gen Xers were focused on generating retirement income versus saving for retirement. Is that any different for boomers, guys, who is what we work with? And yet, what are all other of our competitors talking about? What are all of our competitors talking about? Getting a what? Getting better retirement income or getting a higher return? What are all of our competitors talking about? Return, 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 right? What is our USP about? What is our unique selling proposition about? Our unique selling proposition is not about a higher return. It's about what? Income, income, income. Increase your retirement income. It's right there. The first statement in our USPs: increase your retirement return or increase your retirement income by 25% or more. And your risk doesn't go up, it goes down. So now are we hitting all the things that Invesco study found? Increase your retirement income by 25%. They want to talk about retirement income. They certainly want to talk about more, and they don't want risk. So your risk doesn't go up, it goes down, which is the opposite you think would happen. And you don't need to move a single cent of your investments. It's done by using one of 3 or more techniques proven in the last few years. One is developed by the University of San Francisco, or a pretty simple tax strategy that for some reason most people aren't even aware of, or an analysis of the 20 or 12 different withdrawal strategies that best fit your current retirement portfolio. Unfortunately, most people use the 4% rule, which is actually one of the worst of the 12 strategies, because number one, it cheats you of 25% more income, and number two, it creates more risk than you need to take. So, does our unique selling proposition hit the very things that people want to talk about? How awesome, I'm going to keep telling you this until you're all awesome at it, how awesome should you be at this USP? How awesome should you be at explaining these things? And last week I gave you an example. What was the analogy we can use when people say, well, how do you do that? What's the analogy we can use when people say, how do you do that? Nick's got it. I need more than one right answer, guys. What analogy can we use? Howard's got it. Only 2 people? Come on. Guys, it's the Thanksgiving dinner analogy. How do you do that? Well, you eat Thanksgiving dinner one way, you gain weight. You eat Thanksgiving dinner another way, you lose weight. It's the same thing with income and your investments. You draw it out one way, you're going to end up running out of money sooner. You draw it out another way, you can actually pull out more and run out of money later or never. So please, please, please get awesome at these things. Okay, the main topic we want to talk about today is this great article from Financial Advisor magazine. Where have all the advisors gone? And I've been saying this forever and ever and ever, and I still get pushback on this. And when for the non-financial things, I've had, especially when people first start on the system, they're like, well, it's really not the advisor's job to talk about the advance directive. Guys, is it a financial advisor's job to talk about the advance directive? Yes or no? Yes, John, you're right. Jeff, right. And Bruce, right. Why? Why is it their job? Because what's the number one thing that can sink any client's 40 years of work to put money away? It's healthcare costs. So yes, it's their job. See, if all the advisor is talking about is their investments, what are they? If the only thing their investment advisor, and this is all they do talk about, that's right, they're an investment salesman. Because when somebody calls themselves a financial advisor, that means they should be advising about what? When somebody calls themselves a financial advisor, they should be advising on what? Financial things. Is Social Security a financial thing? Is healthcare costs a financial thing? Is estate planning a financial thing? So really, all the other advisors out there are only talking about what? Investments. And why is the only thing they talk about investments? Because it's the only thing they get what? Paid on. See, you guys are doing it right. And that's the point of this Steve Gresham's article. It's awesome. He said, he was talking about, he was at a backyard party. You know, Steve Gresham, I don't know if you know him, but he's pretty darn famous in idea leader in the financial industry. And he was at a backyard barbecue, And one of his friends that was there said, hey, do you know a guy that I could use, a financial advisor I could use? And this guy says, it was a retired age. And he's like, well, don't you have a financial advisor? He says, no. My guy's my investment guy. I want a retirement specialist, somebody who can tell me how I can get retirement income, somebody who can tell me how to use Social Security. So this financial advisor is that his current broker or investment salesman is in dire risk of what? And he's in dire. Gresham's friend's advisor is in dire risk of what? That's right, losing a client. And does he have any idea, or does he think he actually has a satisfied client right now? Yep, Jeff. He thinks he has a satisfied client right now. No idea, John. That's right. So the Gresham says that I want a retirement specialist. See, my guy only talks about what? Money. Well, I mean, every once in a while he'll bring up Social Security, Medicare, and then guess what happens with that discussion? Every once in a while I'll bring up Social Security, Medicare. Guess what happens? Nothing. No follow through. And then here's the kicker. And he never wants to involve my wife. My wife doesn't want to go because every time she goes, she gets bored or she's talked down or she's ignored or that we talk about things she doesn't care about. So he never talks about my wife. Guys, is this the exception to our competitors, or is this basically 100% of our competitors? And it's the whole thing our 5Q 21-point checklist revolves around. See, they're mistaking a salesman for a financial advisor. Only did this guy mistake? He may not call his guy a financial or a investment salesman, but essentially in his mind, whether he calls the guy an investment salesman or not, what does he think of his guy as? An investment salesman. And we have to help the people discover that. See, if I go out on a date with a girl and the only thing I talk about is sex, what does she know about me? I'm concerned about one thing and one thing only. And it's the same thing with an advisor. If the only thing the advisor talks about the investments is they know that they only care about one thing, which is what? Investments. And we found out, do people want to talk about investments? No, they want to talk about what? No, we just talked about it 10 minutes ago, guys. What do they want to talk about? What did the invest? Thank you, Nick. Bruce, yes. Income. That's what they want to talk about. Now, we're going to talk about all sorts of other things with the 21-point checklist, but the purpose of all those other discussions on the 21-point checklist is simply to do what? What is the purpose of all the discussions we have with the 21-point checklist? It's to fix the one thing their current advisor can't fix, which is what? That they can't trust their current guy. That's what the 21-point checklist is about. They can't trust their current guy. But once they want to leave their guy, then we have to do the right thing. And if we're going to do the right thing, it means we have to talk about what? Income. Do we have techniques for higher income? What are the techniques we use for higher income? Jeff, what are all the big cases closed with all the tools that we have on the 5Q system? And you help guys with this all the time. The big cases, the $1 million cases, the $500,000 cases, the $2 million cases, how do they get closed?
Sale plan.
Yeah, the sale plan. So do we have? Yes, we have those. And now a lot of guys are saying, not me. I don't do that. I do it the right way. So how many of you, if I flew to your office, pulled a client randomly from your filing cabinet, would bet me $10,000 that if I talked to them about the 21-point checklist, that your client would know about that? How many of you would take that bet? Because what percentage of my clients, when I made $1 million a year, what percentage of the guys that are in the top 10 producers with us, what percentage of them have done 21-point checklists? 100%. How many of you have done a 21-point checklist with 100% of your clients? Y'all should have. So if you haven't, then you can't say, not me. My clients don't look at me as an investment salesman. If you haven't done a 21-point checklist, I guarantee you, guess how they look at you as an investment salesman. And the survey says just that. So they surveyed 1,000 different research that Gresham's talking about, surveyed retired clients and want to know what they want about. The number one thing they want to know about is just like with the Invesco. So now we have two different surveys. Both surveys say the number one thing clients want to talk about is what? Retirement income. Guys, has 5Q done the work for you? How many people out? I will keep hammering this USP. I don't know. You know, I almost want to charge everybody $5,000 to use the 5Q USP, because then you would treat it like what? But because we've given it to you for free, guess how you treat it? Oh, that's a good idea. I mean, I don't think you don't like it. I don't think that you think it's a bad thing, but you treat it like what? It's just like if you give your kid a car and you come to him, you look in that car 3 months later, what does it look like? I know for my kids, when they pay for something, guess what? It's beautiful. It's pristine. When you give them it, it gets trashed. Guys, treat the USP as it is. It's gold. It's platinum. It's diamonds. Treat it, because we're talking about the very thing that every study is saying that people are worried about, which is retirement income. 2/3 want to talk about health and longevity. Do we have a USP that deals with health and longevity? Yes, what are they? One is, would you like to have long-term care, first 2 years of your long-term care paid for without expensive annual premiums? Does that deal with health care and longevity? How about, have you applied for the program that will replace your spouse's Social Security check when they pass away? Does that deal with health and longevity? We've given you three USPs that every single person wants to talk about. And do we involve our wives when we start talking about these things, especially these last two? Are we involving their wives when we talk about those last two things? We absolutely do. And guys, look at the number of boomers that are occurring right now. We're in the sweet spot. You should be if you haven't gotten a new client in the last month, what does that say? You're using the USP or you're not using the USP? If you haven't gotten a new client in the last month, are you using USP effectively or not? Guys, you're in a sweet spot. You should be making money hand over fist now with the USPs that we've given you. And remember, Jeff talks about that. He has such a great analogy. So Jeff, talk about the mountain again, just so everybody can have another analogy in their back pocket.
Yeah, the mountain climbing analogy is this, that most people think the hard part is climbing the mountain, but mountain climbers actually realize the hardest part is coming down. That's where over 90% of mountain climbing accidents happen. So you have to have a different strategy for coming down the retirement mountain than you had going up. That first chart, the blue chart, shows that, hey, the only strategy you have to have going up is just stick with it. Don't worry, just keep plugging money, just save. That's your strategy. But if just taking out money, even at 4 or 5%, is your only strategy, even when you see a great market, you're going to run into trouble. That's no strategy. Pulling money out at 4%, that's not a strategy. That's just pull money out and hope for the best. And mountain climbers will tell you that doesn't work. And people that lived through 2000, if you're retired in 2008 or 2009, you did a lot better than people who retired in 2000. They're broke. Even despite what happened over the last 10 years, if you retired in 2000, you didn't make it.
And what are most advisors talking about? The blue chart or the green chart, guys? Your competitors, what are they talking about? The blue chart or the green chart? Blue, I can get you a high return. I can get you a high return. I can get you a high return. We're going to try to avoid losses. Guys, does it matter? In the blue chart, does it matter? Losses matter. No, it doesn't. When do losses matter? In retirement income. And more articles are coming out now saying that you should use the 4% rule or you shouldn't use the 4% rule. Especially with the low interest rates we have now and with an overvalued market, should you be using the the 4% rule. No, they're saying it's more likely 3% rule. But with sale, can you still use the 5% rule? So now, somebody do the math. Are we getting them a 25% higher return, or what percentage are we getting them return-wise now with the sale? Should be using 3. We get you 5. That's very good, Bruce. That is Bruce is saying 25% or more. But I'm asking you, that's right. That is our unique selling proposition. But with the sale right now, if we're getting you a 5% withdrawal rate safely versus a 3%, which is not safe. Yeah, 40%, Jeff. We're getting you 40% higher return and safer than a 3%. And guys, remember, with our USPs, are we hitting all the concerns that retirees have? So between the 3 USPs, get you 25% higher rate of return or more with less chance of running out of money. Does that hit their number one concern, which is, according to ARP, according to AgeWave, their number one concern is, I'd like to have enough money for financial peace of mind. Does it hit that one? Yes. Investments that provide guaranteed income. Does it hit that one? Yes. Because remember, what are we talking about there? We're getting 25% or more with less chance of running money, and we're talking about replacing your spouse's Social Security check when they die. Investment guarantee not to lose value. Does it hit that one? Serious health problem. Getting having long-term care paid for without expensive annual premiums. Yes. Making sense Social Security and Medicare. Yes, because we can replace their spouse's check when they die. Covering long-term care costs. We just talked about that. Yes, it does that one. Not being a burden to family. Yes, it does that one. Help dealing with inheritance and legacy matters. Yes. See, all of our unique selling propositions hit every single 13 out of 13 concerns. But our competitors, our clients think client thinks my guy only talks about what? The money. So right now, with the number of baby boomers that are turning every single day, and the fact that our competitors are talking about the wrong thing, what kind of opportunity does that provide you? An unbelievable opportunity. See, the questions clients are asking themselves are not, hey, how do I get the highest rate of return? Right now, they're asking, how much do I need to retire? How much income can I pull? What is the best way to pull that income? So let me ask you a question. Which one of these rules is right for a client? That they should be pulling 70% of what they made when they were with their working income, or they should have 10 times their final salary in savings, or that they should be pulling out 4% rule? What is the right answer here? Trick question. What's the right answer? Jeff's got that. Very good. All right, you guys have got to say none. It depends. Because it depends on what? What does it depend on? Their lifestyle. Their circumstances, right, Nick? Their lifestyle. That's what it depends on. You need to help them go through and what? What's the number one thing you can do to help your clients decide how much money they need? Go through their what? Again, if people say budget, that's right. But when I think of budget, it means that it's something I'm putting myself on. Instead, what I'm looking for is you need to go look at their checkbook and their credit card. That's right, their check register, Jeff, and their credit card. That's what you need to look at, because that's how much they're actually spending. Because in our minds, do we spend as much on restaurants as we think we do? As much on anything that we think we do, on clothes that we think we do, on groceries that we think we do? No. So you need to look at the actual registers and their credit cards, and are we doing that to put them on a budget, or are we doing that to figure out how much money they need? So you want to make sure your clients understand, I'm not doing this you worked way too hard for me to tell you what you can and cannot spend. All I want to know is how much you are spending, so that we don't end up paying taxes on money that you're not spending. See, that's how you do it. I think you should spend all the money you want to spend, because you have worked long and hard for this. So I'm asking you to do this with me, not because we're trying to put you on a budget. It's the opposite. I want to make sure you're not giving government money that they don't deserve. How many of your clients would be open to that conversation? Am I telling them that they need to, I'm going to put them tell them they can't spend as much money in restaurants or travel or anything? No, I'm saying what? I think you should spend as much money as you want. We just don't want to we want to make sure that if you're not spending money, you're not paying taxes on that unnecessarily. Make sense? So is that valid or invalid? It's invalid. You need to find out how much they're actually spending. Then you can work from there. They want to know, how will I pay for health care? How many of you are experts on health care costs or health insurance, but for the people who are 60 to 65, or even Medicare after they're age 65? I'm not. So if I'm not, then I darn well better what? I'm not an expert. So then I should do what? Hook up with a what? An expert. Get an expert. That's right. Find an expert. Refer them to an expert. I have no interest in Medicare. I have no interest in health insurance. But are there guys that make a living in Medicare, SUPs, and health insurance? Are there guys that make a living doing that? Would they be happy for you to refer a client to them and to educate you? So how many of you should either be an expert or have an expert on Medicare and health insurance? Bruce says he has one. That's awesome. All of you should have. This is the thing that people are worried about this. I'm worried about this. I have plenty of money, but still, how expensive is health insurance? Everybody's worried about this. If you aren't an expert, I don't think you need to be. I'm not, but I have an expert. Okay, that's what you want. Social Security and Medicare, they want answers to that. Now, some of you on the system are awesome Social Security and Medicare specialists. I'm not. So what do I have? An expert that can tell me these things. So you either need to become an expert or what? Find one. Would your clients be happy, if you're not an expert in Medicare and Social Security, would your clients be happy to come to a small focus group with a Social Security or a Medicare specialist to talk to them? They'd love it. And then are you addressing all the things they're concerned about? How many clients would like to downsize if they could? See, they're wondering, should I downsize or should I not downsize? Should I pay it off or should I not pay it off? What if I need extensive care? What would happen to my house? Is my home equity part of my retirement portfolio? I'm telling you, I'll ask you this question, but are clients wondering all of these things? Yes. Should you be an expert on these things? Do these fall within your purview of what you should be? If you're a financial advisor, should you be an expert on these things? Yes. Can you find other reliable experts on these things? Would your clients love a focus group just about these things? Would they bring friends to something like this? Would this be a good marketing, doing it at a library, answering these questions, doing it at a church, answering these questions, doing it at a senior place or 55 plus, answering these things? Would that be a good thing? Clients want to know about these things. People want to know, how do I maintain my independence? The number one thing boomers are concerned about is what? Independence. They don't want to rely on anybody. I don't want to be a burden to my family. See, we cannot be salesmen. If all we're talking about with our clients is their investments, that's a problem. At every single annual review, what's the first half hour of your annual review to be spent with? What should your first half hour of every annual review of your clients be spent on? Yes, all of the non-financial things, 21-point checklist. So test yourself, guys. Send a note to all of your clients saying, hey, do you have any questions about the best way to draw your retirement income out? Do you have questions about Social Security and Medicare? Do you have questions about how your home fits into your retirement planning? Call me if you have questions on these things. They're wondering them. This is a great way for you to find out, hey, maybe I am talking about them, but are they hearing me? Because does it matter if you're talking about them if they don't hear you? No. If all they hear about you is talking about investments, then your client is in danger of what? Moving. So make sure they feel that you've addressed the best way to draw their retirement income, that you've addressed their question about Social Security and Medicare, that you've addressed their questions about how a home fits into the retirement planning. And you know what? Like we just talk about with those home questions, is that a great way to draw in prospects? Is our USP, all three of our USPs, first one is, hey, how would you like to get 25% or more, increasing your retirement income, while at the same time reducing the chances of running out of money without moving a single investment? Or number two, have you applied for the program that will replace 2 years of long-term care without expensive premiums? Or number three, have you applied for the program that will replace your spouse's income, your Social Security income, Social Security check when they die? Do you think those are good prospecting tools? Are you using them? How are you using them? So when you're having your annual reviews, you need to be asking them those things. You need to be having focus groups with the clients to bring friends in to talk about those things. You need to be marketing with those things. There's plenty of cheap ways to market. We've talked about putting a bumper sticker or a big magnetic sign on your car. With any of those things, you think you're going to get phone calls? Sure you will. Could you go to your local pastor? Or any of those to do with investments? Or any of those things, those three unique selling propositions to do with investments? We said that the first one, get a higher income without moving your investments. Is that to do with investments then, if you don't have to move your investments? Could you go to a pastor then and say, hey, I'd like to do this for the retirees in the church? Could you advertise in your local, a lot of church bulletins allow you to advertise in the back. A lot of community centers allow you to advertise in the back. A lot of the local papers will allow you to, or not only allow, but are seeking advertisements. Would any of these things work to draw in people? This is their number one concern. Make sense? So money moves every single day. This is when I first started the business with the Ameriprise, or back then they called themselves IDS. This really hit me, and I thought about it regularly. At first, every single day I thought about this. My manager said, listen, money moves every single day. All you need to do is put yourself in the middle of just a little of it to make an unbelievable income. Will those three unique selling propositions put you in the position to be in the middle of the movement of some of that money? Because remember, boomers, there's $7 trillion under management right now. How much of that do you need to get in front of to make an unbelievable income? So if you haven't got in front of a new client in the last month, you need to be asking yourself what? Let's see how many of you have been paying attention the last half hour. If you haven't gotten in front of a new client in the last month, you need to be asking yourself how well you're using what? How much you are an expert on what? Yes, unique selling proposition. Get awesome at it. Get awesome at it. Use it everywhere. Be creative. Think about where can you do this. Please, please, please get out there with it, because this is the very thing that people are talking about. Make sense? So this is my advertisement, number 575th advertisement for the unique selling proposition. Get out there, and today was just proof that all the surveys, just not my survey, all the surveys are saying what? Our unique selling proposition is the best one out there. Use it. Like it's gold, like it's a diamond, like it's a platinum. Use it, use it, use it, and start making money. Figure out, if you haven't gotten in front of a new client in the last month, it means you're not using that to its fullest extent. Make sense? Awesome, awesome. Well, you guys have a banner on your LinkedIn profile. That's awesome, Bruce. I love that. Perfect. Super, guys. Appreciate y'all. You guys have a great rest of the weekend. We'll talk to you all next Monday. Thanks, everybody.